Hey folks, Brandon from Bluelight here. Now for those of you who haven't seen any of the videos I've made before, I've been helping to support people to succeed in the police recruitment process now for well over a decade. Over 12,000 people are now in the police in the United Kingdom, some as far away as Australia, New Zealand, Canada and North America, but not nearly as many. But what I'm going to focus on today is something that's emerging not just in England and Wales, but also in the police service of Northern Ireland as well. And that's the re-emergence of role plays as a means of assessing your abilities, your behaviours, your values to see if you are suitable to join the police. So role plays have long been used as a technique to assess your behaviours, to see whether you are up to the role. I did role plays to become an inspector all those years ago. 20 years ago? A long time ago. It's about 20 years ago. Oh my goodness. I did the inspector's exam. Half of it was law-based, the other half of it was role play. So it's nothing new. And I've been coaching and supporting people whilst I was in the police service to succeed in the role plays that were called Osprey back then, for the PC to sergeant and sergeant to inspector process. And been continuing to do it. And then of course COVID came along and role plays stopped. Well, now they're re-emerging. So Police Service of Northern Ireland, role plays, they put you in the role of being a police officer. Metropolitan Police put you in the role of a police officer. This comes after your online assessment centre. It's called the Day 2. They invite you for your fitness, your medical, and they put some sneaky role plays in there as well, which are part of your assessment. Who else? Greater Manchester Police have been doing role plays in the past for the detective process. I'm not sure if they're going to continue with it, but you get the gist. It's something that's popular within the police, and every force can introduce their own wraparound assessment systems on top of the online assessment centre. That applies to England and Wales only, of course. For Police Service of Northern Ireland, this is your main assessment centre. So for those of you, my clients, there's plenty of information for you, both in the online assessment centre course. If you look at the old material for the Search Assessment Centre in the Day 1, you'll see plenty there on how to manage role plays. And for those of you who've been joining during COVID, the rest of the information, the sort of updated information, is in the interview course. So for those of you who are clients of any of those, go to your membership site and dig out the explainer videos where I demonstrate to you how to manage different types of role plays and the model to utilise. If you're not part of that, then click the links below and you'll be able to join that service and access that material. But today I'm just going to give you a bit of a taster of one, the approach to take, which is using a model called CUDSAR, and also I'm going to talk to you about the F word and why the F word is such an important thing to get into your role plays. You might be thinking, the F word, you'll get failed for that, won't you? No, not this F word. So, first of all, CUDSAR. CUDSAR stands for Confront, Understand, Define and Summarise, Solutions, Assess and Monitor, and Response. It's based on a non-contact conflict management model that the police used years ago. I first learnt about this when I trained to be a police trainer back in 1996. Yes, I am that old. And that's the first time I came across it. Used a lot by public order officers back then, but what we did in the training world is we morphed it into a way of dealing with difficult situations. And since then, I've used it operationally. So it's something I'm really, really familiar with, especially when it comes to my role as an inspector, handling complaints, that sort of thing. Now, the people you're going to go and see in the role plays are people who have got complaints to make. So all we've done is we've morphed this system to enable you to have a structured approach that's going to nail it every time. There is not a role play you're going to come across where CUDSAR won't apply. I guarantee that. I absolutely guarantee it. So the first thing we're going to do is to confront the situation. And there's a set of lines I give my clients that they can use and learn to confront the situation. I'm not going to talk about the define and summarize or the solutions, the assess and monitor or the result, because again, there's a series of stepped approaches that you can take and lines that you can utilize. There's nothing wrong with this. I learned these lines years ago. I learned them over 25 years ago and have been using them ever since and just honing those skills. So when it comes to approaching any kind of conflict situation, I've got the set system that's going to enable me to nail it every time. Now, the understanding phase, this is all about asking questions so you can get a deeper understanding of the position that the other person is in, what the issue is, how it's impacting on them. There's a whole series of questions that we can ask in a simple to complex way based on the 5WH questions. Now, but before we start asking all of those questions, we need to demonstrate our emotional awareness. Now, I know that's competency buzzword speak, and I don't often do that, but I think it's quite important that we recognise when someone might be feeling upset or angry about something. You can't just go in and start asking people questions about something that they're feeling angry or emotive about, because they're in this sort of cathartic state. There's all of this catharsis, these feelings that are whizzing around their body, and you're going to get absolutely nowhere in reality if you start asking them questions about what happened and what happened next and what did they say and what did someone else say in return. You're not going to get anywhere because they're angry about something. Now, your role players are going to be angry about something, so we need to deal with that catharsis. We need to allow for this cathartic release. So this is where the F word comes in. We're going to ask questions about feelings. Questions about feelings. And just earlier, I scribbled down a load. And I'm going to share the first one with you. There's 7 of them. These are piercing questions that are so powerful. And you're going to learn from this. You're going to be able to apply this when you're a police officer. But ultimately, the key thing you want to do is to score really highly. And this is going to set you aside from all the other candidates, because I guarantee the only sort of people who are going to be asking these sort of piercing questions that are that have been calculated to get exactly what you need off the role player. And this is where the emotional awareness comes in. You need to ask him what their needs are, what their emotional state is, what's driving them. And these questions are going to enable you to do it. The first one, though, before we ask any questions about what happened, we're going to get rid of this catharsis. We're going to ask a question which goes something along the lines of, now, this must have been really X for you. I don't know what the situation is, so this must have been really challenging for you. This must have been a really difficult time for you. So I'm just wondering, how has all of this made you feel? So I'm just wondering, how is all of this making you feel? And then silence. Let them answer the question. I feel terrible. I feel awful. Swear words might be used. It's important we demonstrate our listening. This is active listening, and we repeat back to them what they've said. And now we can move into, I think it's really important that we explore this, find out the reasons for you feeling like this, and importantly, to see if we can come up with some solutions. So I'm just wondering if you could explain to me exactly what happened when, whatever it is that you're looking at addressing, whatever the complaint is. So you see where that goes, folks? You've taken out the, you've got the feelings from them. You've identified with those feelings. And now you're going to give them a pathway to explore why they're feeling like that, and importantly, to come up with some solutions. There's all sorts of other things we can say as well, like I'm hoping you'll be able to work with me to explore some solutions. So I'm just wondering if you could describe to me precisely what happened when. I'm using a bit of TED Pie there. For those of you, my clients, you know exactly what TED Pie is. I'm also using loads of rapport building phrases like I'm just wondering, or I'm interested to know. These are really powerful phrases that if you put them in front of a question, they're going to, the role player is going to give you the same answer anyway. Whether you say, I'm just wondering, I'm interested to know, and then you TED Pie the question, they're going to give you the same answer, whether you say all of those things or you just go, so what happened? You're going to get the same answer. What will be different is the score you get, because the score you get will be based on not just the questions you ask, but how you ask those questions. So they'll be assessing you against analyze critically, impartiality, transparency, emotional awareness, and later on, when it comes to solutions, we are collaborative and other competencies. Maybe integrity, public service, you're going to get assessed against all of them. And the CUDSAR methodology allows you to nail every value, every competency. So folks, there you go. There's a little teaser for you. I've got another 6 awesome F-word questions for you. If you're one of my clients, jump over to the Interview Course Facebook group, where I'm going to go through the rest of those questions with you. They're F-word questions that you can use at various stages of the CUDSAR process. Drop these into your answers and score even higher than you would do anyway. And of course, you've got to practice this, because these sort of phrases don't come naturally. They might come naturally to me, but remember, I was a police officer for 3 decades, and I've been perfecting this since 1996, when I first became really interested in communication techniques, communication styles, and how to construct brilliant questions that are going to completely enable you to succeed in what you're doing on behalf of members of the community. All right, folks, I shall catch up with you soon. And don't forget the links below if you want to find out more. Oh, and yes, to join the Facebook group, link below. And subscribe, like, please do. Go ahead. Catch up with you soon. Bye-bye for now.